Don't make it weird.
Since we're now the aunties and uncles, like what are we so like? What's our role now? Because I remember my aunts and uncles like coming up,
Hmm.
but was the baton passed? Like, do we?
I think it was. I realized it when we went camping with my dad last summer, summer 2021. In case anybody's listening, 2023. But summer 2021, we went camping with my dad, and four of my nephews went. Yeah, four of my nephews went, and Athena went. All three of my nieces went, and then my cousin was there, and all of her kids were there. And then another cousin, all her kids were there. And I realized it when we started moving the table. Like my dad was like, "Yeah, we need to move this table over," and my stepmom was like, "Mm, let the youngsters handle it. Y'all don't got to do that." And so they picked the table up. The boys picked the table up, and they moved it. I was like, "Wow, okay." Because I remember a time before that when we went camping, my aunt went with us. My dad's sister went with us, and she's passed away. But it was weird because like my dad was there, and then we were there, and then the next generation was there, and we were leading all like, okay, TJ wants to do s'mores. My older brother wanted to do s'mores. A bunch of the kids had never had s'mores before, so we were able to introduce that experience to them. So it was weird because we were like in control. They were looking to us to lead them and stuff. I thought it was going to be weird, but it felt good. And I think it felt good. This is going to sound corny in case any of the aunts or uncles are listening, but this is okay. It felt good because we had good examples. Like we knew what we liked when we were the younger nephews and stuff, when we were that generation.
Hmm.
We knew what went well for us, what maybe they didn't do as well. And so we approached it through a different lens to where, yeah, it's what they did, but on steroids. So I think our role is like we're the leaders, but we're still, yeah, we have to lead our parents sometimes too if they're listening. So I mean,
I mean,
they're at that
I
age.
think so. Yeah.
They're at that age, right?
I still feel it still feels weird sometimes to enlighten my parents on certain things.
Yeah,
Like that feels weird to me, but I like that there's a respect there where we'll listen to each other in the enlightenment. It's not me telling them what to do,
yeah,
but to explain, hey, you might want to look at doing it this way because this information is out there.
yeah,
And so, but it's I don't know, that's so because I, especially when you have nieces and nephews and you're younger,
hmm,
like early 20s, or even some kids are aunts and uncles in
like
their
teens.
late teens,
Yeah,
and so it's like, oh, I'm an adult, like you look up to me.
it's a completely different kind of dynamic because like one of my Athena, one of my oldest nieces, my brother's oldest child. We were 18 when she was born. She's 17 now. So it was like, okay, yeah, at first it was more so like, it felt like a cousin type thing where it's like, okay,
Right.
we're pretty close in age, but I'm still a kid myself. But now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, I guess I don't really, and maybe you don't either. I don't realize how much life I've lived in that time period since they've been born.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay,
Right.
I have a lot of background and experience that can help inform the lessons that I'm helping like them develop, and just so that she doesn't make some of the same not mistakes that I've made, but doesn't let certain things hold her back.
I can 100% agree with that, and
Hmm.
I would like to add that, especially when the kids are coming up and they're looking to you for advice, they're not looking for a friend.
Hmm.
Because when we're younger, they're just looking for somebody to kick it with. Oh, have
Yeah,
fun with me, punch buggy
yeah.
and all these other
It's
things.
like all
But
the only thing that they have there is you. So it's like, okay, they like being around me, but it's not like they have a choice. So it's kind of different. But then when they get
right,
older and start asking for advice and stuff, and like last week, I think I told you where she Athena tried to call her dad at first, but he wasn't available. So then she called me and she was like, "Yeah, I tried to call my dad, but he didn't pick up. So you were the next person. You were the next best person to call." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that like it kind of hit me, but I'm like, okay, she wants to be around me. Like she
Yeah,
wants to talk to me and stuff. She asked me for advice about college and stuff, but it's weird. I guess it's weirder when they get older because it's their choice to want
right.
to be around you and experience you as the uncle or the aunt.
It's that, I mean, knowing that they're making a choice to
Mm-hmm.
specifically call me or specifically see me, especially like
No
when
pressure.
they want to show me that they know cursive, or they want to show me
Yeah.
that they know how to tie their shoes, or when they want to call me to tell me how their game goes, or like, let me tell you how what happened in school today,
Mm-hmm.
or I've gotten this on the spelling test, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you care.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like, oh. But
Yeah.
it's not. But I want people to know who don't experience that. It's not. It wasn't an automatic thing. This was
No.
years of sewing into
Yeah.
these kids.
Building the bond. If you keep the bond going early on, then it's sort of organic. If
Right.
you don't really lose touch and stuff, like I have aunts who like I can check in with and stuff,
Hmm.
but I have like one aunt that I'll call every once in a while and we just pick up like it's nothing. But even as like a little kid, we had one aunt, my aunt Cookie, who we would call basically all the time. Still have her phone number memorized, even though she's passed away. Still have her phone number memorized. She's the only aunt that I would really like call on a consistent basis up until I was probably like in my mid 20s,
Yeah.
just to kind of shoot the breeze and stuff. But it goes into how you interact with the kids,
Right.
treating them like, and I think that for her, for me, the reason why it was easy for me is because she always treated me as sort of like, not like inappropriate, where it's like, okay, having inappropriate conversations where it's like, okay, why are you telling your kid this? Like family business type stuff. But she was real with us about stuff.
Right.
And she talked to us like we were adults. She challenged us and stuff all the time.
Treat
And
like you a person. Yeah.
yeah. And I treat my nieces and nephews like that too. I treat them like, okay, you're a little person right now. You're a tiny little person. You're gonna grow into a bigger person someday. So might as
Hmm.
well talk to you how I'm gonna talk to you later on.
This man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm glad I
It's a good
have
feeling.
those. It is, and it's like even I just messaged, I'm sending out messages like randomly of like, hey, let's do a virtual family night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch a movie together and things like that. And I'm just like, oh, this feels good.
It's
I'm
happening.
glad.
It's happening.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space podcast. I am your host Leah, joined by Jason.
Yeah, yeah.
Keeping it going, keeping it going.
Keep it moving.
Oh my goodness. I want to talk about scarcity. I've had so many conversations with different people about, and it really honestly, when they are hit with having to make a decision about taking their lives in a different direction,
Mm-hmm.
or even making a hard decision of cutting someone out, stopping doing something, or move on to doing something else,
Yeah.
a lot of times it comes down to scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Like they think that they can only have this thing, and after this thing, there's nothing
There's
else.
nothing more.
There will never be anything else. There will never be anything that tops it. And I'm just like, you're 27. There's so much more life to live. What are you talking about?
Isn't it weird how 27 seems young now? Youngish.
It does. It does. When I referred to this guy as a kid, he's a whole security guard, and I was just like,
Don't
this
do
kid is
that.
only 27. This kid is only 27, and he thinks this is the best he can do.
Look, kid, you're going up. You're going up, upwards, and onwards.
That's. I mean, I I don't. I try to have compassion for people who come from that mindset
Yeah.
of scarcity, because sometimes it's a lived experience, sometimes it's something that is taught,
Mm-hmm.
um, but a lot of times it's 100% their reality.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that's their reality.
it's a survival thing. I know for my personal experience, and I had this conversation with a few of my coworkers. One in particular whose situation sort of mirrored mine, but like after I graduated or finished my graduate degree, well, Okay, we've talked about the year of 2013 where I couldn't find a job. And so
Mm-hmm.
basically, any job that I could get after that would sort of run it into the ground. It just so happened that they all were, except for the temp thing when I took the temp job for one day. Um, I digress. But it would just sort of be like, okay, I'm not going to be offered another job, so I have to get as much out of it as possible. For me, it kind of came to a head when I was teaching, when I started teaching at the community college level, and I was teaching the equivalent of three classes, mentoring in three classes, which are mentoring in 3 unit classes, and then also tutoring in the writing center, which was like basically I had no free time throughout the week.
Yeah, you were burning
Um,
yourself out.
yeah, just through and through. But I think the thing that helped me start saying no to like, okay, maybe I'm not going to take on 3 sections to tutor or mentor. It was just acknowledging and recognizing that like, okay, I'm doing this because I feel like I'm going to run out of money or run out of opportunities and then run out of money. That was never going to happen. I wouldn't let that happen, but I was still stuck in that mindset of when I was without those opportunities, it was a really, really bad feeling. Um, And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get as much as I can for as long as I can, even if it's just a semester. My coworker, she said that she had a similar experience where during the recession, she had a really hard time finding a job right out of after she finished her graduate program. So she immediately the first thing that she got, which was like a tutoring job, she was doing tutoring jobs. She was doing like cleaning and stuff. She was doing literally anything that would come her way. Just saying yes. Oh, I can do that. I can learn to do that. I can do this. And so she mentioned that even like over 10 years later, like what, 15 years later, 14, 15 years later, she's
Mm-hmm.
still in that mindset where she has to remind herself that if they ask her to do something at work, even as a salaried employee, she has to remind herself, okay, maybe I shouldn't do 15 side projects in addition to tutoring and training the new tutors and um, scheduling and doing payroll and doing all this other stuff that goes with her job. She has to consciously remind herself, say no. So it's, I say that to say it's absolutely a survival instinct.
But when you are killing yourself to survive,
Yeah.
because let's understand that scarcity mindset is not just about money.
No.
It's about, any resource, any person, even when it comes to, company you keep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep this person who is draining me of all my energy, who always leaves me feeling empty, who always makes me question myself and whether I'm good or not or good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, that doesn't really make me feel good. I'm going to keep their company because no one else is going to put up with me.
Right. I've never had that
Like,
experience with like friends or anything or relationships, anything like that. I
mhm.
think we've talked before about how I'm fairly quick. Like if somebody treats me a certain way, then I'm like,
Right,
okay, I don't like this. Let's see if you can correct. And then if they don't, just being like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. This isn't happening anymore.
right.
Um, it's it's not automatic, but I think I mentioned probably last week or the week before or something how like I have to kind of remind myself like, okay, this isn't this they're not reciprocating or whatever. It's not going the way that is ideal. Then let it go.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think I've ever done it out of a mindset like, oh, I won't be able to find more friends or something, or I won't be able to find a partner or anything like that. Um, mine, acknowledging what you said, yes, it applies to other things. Mine has always been more so financial based.
Ah,
So yeah,
see, I've always
because
had the I've always had the mindset I'm gonna get money. It isn't
yeah,
like that's always been my mindset, and it's because it's always happened
yeah,
regardless. Like if I need to pay a bill, take care of this, dude, I'm
hmm
gonna get money. Money
yeah.
is coming. Like I always have that mindset.
I've just learned. I've just accepted it or realized it. I guess like I've never ever since 2013. I have not been without. Like
Yeah.
that one year where I wasn't working. Yeah, things have been tight in certain spaces, but or certain time frames or whatever. Like when I was before I was able to start teaching my own classes at Sac State. um, like in that period where it's like, okay, I was taking the class to train me to teach, and
Mm-hmm.
then getting into like, okay, now I can teach. Give me as much work as I can get. In that time period, things were rough, but my mom even says like, okay, I don't really worry about you in the financial respect because one, I handle my money well. I've always handled my money well because I'm
I mean, I don't, but
frugal.
okay.
I'm frugal. I remember you asking. Remember you asked us a few years ago about like how do you guys budget, and I broke out that spreadsheet that I had was like, where I was like, okay, I know I had exactly this much going out because I know the rent is always this much, the utilities are roughly this much, and so I know this is my play money. And then the thing is, I don't spend my play money. That's how I end up where I'm like,
See,
yeah,
yeah, no, I can budget and it'll look pretty. Will I stick to it? Nah,
it's
because if I
all
want it, I'm getting it.
for me. It's all subconscious now. Like it's programmed into my brain where I'm like, okay, I know that I can go this far without being like stressed out with it. But just like I was going to Disneyland this weekend, I didn't pay. Remember, it's Jordan's job. But
Right,
I was like, okay, I can buy these things, and really, I'm like, okay, even if my flow of income stops, I'm like, at this point, I'm just gonna buy it so that at least I'll be broke and happy. Like you
what?
said, right? That's not. I'm not even close to that. Don't worry about that. But I'm thinking like, okay, for a
That, but
moment, I'll
that's
be
your mindset.
yeah, like I'll be uncomfortable for a moment, not necessarily broke, be uncomfortable for a moment. But like you said, I always have a way to get money. Like there's
Right,
always a way for me to get money. I can always teach, I can always tutor, I can always do what I like to do and earn money
right.
for it. And so I think just over the past like maybe 2 or 3 months, honestly, I have really gotten comfortable with that mindset of like, okay, no matter what, I will be okay because I will have a way to earn money somehow. OnlyFans, um, whatever it takes, right?
What are you putting up on
I'm
OnlyFans?
gonna buy my Lego set, okay? You said, what am I
You're
gonna put up?
what? Yeah,
What
what
am
are
I
you
gonna put
putting
on
up
Lego?
on? Yes.
You don't want to look at me differently as a friend, okay? You don't. You don't want to know the
I
details.
mean, there's some lights that I've seen you in. I feel like I can handle OnlyFans.
I don't think you can. Anyway, but yeah, scarcity mindset, decision making.
No, I do I get it, and this is not to say that I've never been in that mindset.
Yeah,
I lived in that mindset. Actually, oh, you know what? Give the audience a little bit of peek behind the curtain,
give them a little bit.
just a little bit. So I started dating again, and there was there was a guy who this is now mind you, this is our third date. And yes, you already heard the story, so
I want to. I need to figure out which one it.
you're gonna know in a second. You're gonna
Okay.
know in a second. So this is our third date. Okay, we have spent a total of maybe 8 or 9 hours together. Okay, and this is our third date. He he gave me an ultimatum to commit or leave him alone, and then told me I would be doing myself a disservice or an injustice or whatever he said if I lose him. I don't want to lose him. And the pearl clutch, the just, I'm just like, you, what?
One, knowing my friend, she's gonna do the exact opposite of what you tell her to do. Like that's the easiest way to just push her away.
Right. I'm like, don't. I said, okay, listen, you don't know me very well, and I'm just gonna help you out because I feel like you don't understand what you're doing. So he's like, what are you talking about? Like, you can be a grown man all you want, but you don't know me. Don't push me because you're going to push me away. Don't give me an ultimatum because if you feel like you need to give me an ultimatum, take whatever the other decision is because I'm not fighting for anyone's affection.
You're not gonna like the answer. You're not gonna like the choice that I
You really
make.
will not. And But there was a time where I felt like, oh man, I better get in line,
Mm-hmm.
because if I don't get in line, then nobody else is going to care about me. Nobody else is going to love me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm just like, whether you're in it for like true love or the romantic feelings or companionship or sex or whatever it is you're in it for, there's always somebody else. There's like 8 billion people in the world. There's
Right.
always going to be someone else.
Somebody's gonna like you.
There's going to be
At least
somebody who makes you
one.
feel special. There's going to be somebody who looks at you that certain way. There's always going to be somebody who does a thing you like. I mean, always. You just got to figure out where to find them. Now, when he gave he gave me the ultimatum, it took everything in me not to laugh in his face. But I just sat there. I pressed on the table like Jada Pinkett, because I was like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand what you're saying right now, and to who you're saying it to. You
I'm gonna give
you
you a
don't understand.
moment. I'm just gonna give you a
So let
moment
me
to think
just
about
let
it.
me just run it back real quick to help me understand. You're giving me an ultimatum. He was like, yes, that's my ultimatum. I said, okay, you can take your ultimatum. I'm gonna go home. Wait, where are you going? No, because you said you want me to commit to you. I'm not committing to someone I don't trust. And if there's no stability, there's no consistency, there's no safety, there's no security,
Mm-hmm.
why would I commit to you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel safe with me?
Oh
Yo,
damn.
I'm like, this is date, like, dudes be weird. Like, this is date number 3. Date number 3. There's been no foundation really established. Like,
For
no,
you.
or for
For you.
me.
For you.
I'm just like, what?
Foundation. No foundation for you.
This man probably.
You don't know what was. Do you see the foundation of the Golden Gate Bridge? You don't know what's happening under that water. He could have had it all laid out for you.
Yeah, I'm just like you.
That's a lot. You
I'm
know
just
somebody for 9 hours basically,
right,
and it's like, okay, timesheet. Check the timesheet. 9 hours is the shift total, and it's already ultimatum.
right. Commit to me, or
Commit
you're
to
gonna
me.
lose me.
You don't know what you're
I'm gonna
missing out
lose
on
you. That's
here.
what it sounds like. It sounds like I'm gonna lose you. It's been a good run. I enjoyed the pizza. You have a great one.
Was the pizza really good though?
It was from Round Table, so yes, it was very
Oh, okay, yeah,
delicious.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, it was very delicious. I got
Yeah,
to
let's
have
say
my
round
Round Table
table.
pizza. Oh, I love it. But yeah, I'm
Must be
just like,
nice.
can you? But I just think about. I
Sorry.
just think.
Sorry, you just picked up on that. Dairy allergy, sorry.
Oh
It's
man.
the
Well, I
one
can't have
bitter
chicken,
note for
so
me.
I think we're kind of like similar here.
Are we?
Um,
Are we
I mean,
really?
a little bit. I can still have mac and cheese. So I feel like
I can have the fried chicken, so
it's
there you go.
whatever. Um,
Together we make one southern meal.
I can. That's why I have compassion for people who are in that scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt myself as soon as I broke out of it to get frustrated,
Hmm.
because I'm just like, man, there's so much more to life than where you are right now.
It's easy to fall into that mindset too because no matter what the resource is, even if you don't know that you've been missing it, if you think, okay, this is the one thing that's making me happy in this specific way at this time, or the one thing that's giving me whatever that feeling is,
Hmm.
then if that thing is taken away from you, just like a baby with candy or something, if it's taken
Right.
away from you, then it's automatic panic and that feeling of like, okay, how am I going to get this again? How can I get this
I'll
again?
never have it again. Like
Yeah,
it's that extreme like jump off a cliff situation of like, if I can't have it now, I'll never be able to have it.
right.
Or if I leave this job, I'll never find anything better.
Hmm.
If I get rid of this person, or if I even stop talking to this person, oh my gosh, World War III is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many extreme scenarios, especially in my anxious mind, that like I come up with that are off the wall. We've
Com-
talked about some of these,
yeah.
but but if you just start pulling that thread a little bit of just like, look, have you ever been down and out? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, you've made it. No,
Like
then
here,
okay, you've made it. Like, regardless
you're
of
on the
what
other
the answer
side of it.
is.
Yeah,
You've been at the bottom.
right,
You know what it is. Does it feel good? No, but did you make it? Yes, you've made it
right.
out. It may have taken some work, but you've made it out. You'll figure life will has to. Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way. Life has to work out. Like that's been my mindset. Life has to work out.
Yeah.
So whether I decide to stay at this job, get a new job, leave this place, go to this place, start dating this person, or even life has to find a way,
Hmm.
and it's going to be fine.
I think part of it is just yes, I'm going back to process because the writer slash teacher slash creative, I'm always process oriented. So I'm
Hmm.
like going back to my situation with the financial thing. I think that the reason why I am in the mindset somewhat of like, okay, I'm going to spend it if I want to spend it at this point because I know I can
Hmm.
make the money back is because, yeah, I'm on the other side of that challenge that was 2013. And so I can think back to like, okay, if I were to lose my job, God forbid, or if I were to lose, like, have to pay some medical bill or something where my funds are completely depleted, I can go back to that process that got me back to this point where I'm thinking, okay, go back to budgeting, plan everything out, go back to whatever steps I took before to make sure that I can get through it at that point. So I think even with like romantic situations or friendships or anything like that, or communication just in the workplace or something, or career choices, if you
Hmm.
think about where you are, whatever that challenge was, and think about the middle part instead of just thinking like, oh, okay, if I quit this job, I'm going to end up with nothing, back at square one. Think about
Right.
what happened at those in between gaps and or that in between steps so that you can think about how you got through it and how you can get through it in the next time. Yeah, I say that. Is that easy? No, it's not. It's not. It's just like if you're telling somebody, "Oh, pull yourself up, don't be sad."
Right.
It doesn't work, right?
I'm clinically depressed, Barbara. What do you
Like
mean don't be sad?
there's a chemical imbalance here. Like this is beyond my control. This isn't about
Right.
being sad. But no, it's that idea of okay, maybe think about the different resources that you can tap into to help you through whatever your situation is. If you know
Right.
that if it's a romantic thing and you know that one friend is going to keep it real with you while still being compassionate, call that friend is going to be compassionate but is going to keep it real with you. Like, okay, you realize this dude is a douchebag, right? You
Right.
realize that this dude is giving you an ultimatum, and even though you just heard stuff, him on the phone talking to people, right?
Yo,
Right?
yo. I made some terrible decisions, y'all, but I'm
When she
here.
told me the story, it's my time to talk now. When she told me the story, I was just listening the whole time, and all I could think was, why didn't you leave?
I
Why
was
didn't
very
you leave?
tired. I was very
Yeah,
that's the only reason
that's a
why.
scarcity abundance thing that I will
Yeah.
give you, where it's like, okay, yeah, you were tired, you didn't have the energy. Your
No.
energy was scarce. There's a bed to lay in. Go to sleep. It makes sense.
Yeah. It was
Right.
like I was like, I need to go to sleep or we're not making it.
Right.
Somebody was not making it out.
Like I can either kill you or I can catch some Z's. There's
I,
an ultimate. That's an ultimatum right there.
I mean, true. You you can decide how the rest of this evening is going to go.
You need to choose me. Choose me.
I don't get it. I really don't understand how people like because this is where when I talk to some of the some like I met some women and they were talking about man dudes be weird. They were talking about how
They do.
this
Yeah, I agree.
dude
I'm sorry.
I can't. They'll explain what their boundaries are, but some people don't get it. Like mind you, don't get me wrong. I've said it on this podcast multiple times. There are some great guys out here.
Hmm.
There are some great. I mean, you're one of them. There's like some amazing
Allegedly.
men that I have met who are compassionate, empathetic. They are still, strong mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. They're just some real good dudes.
Hmm.
But there's some weirdos out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some weirdos at the point where a man sends a Quora article to explain his justification for inviting a woman to his house.
According to Purdue Owl, like,
We're actually on date 2.5, and by the time we finish the fourth date, you should be coming back to
if you
my place.
check the handbook,
Who did you check with her? What does she feel comfortable with? Well, the internet says that this is how things are done.
just
That
creating your own scarcity abundant, your, what is it, false dilemma type thing, where
yes, the is it
false
false
dilemma
dilemma or false
or
dichotomy?
false
False dilemma.
dichotomy.
Is it
Is it false dilemma or false dichotomy? One of those where it's either this or that type thing. When in
yes,
reality,
false
there's
dichotomy. Yeah, because
all
there's
of that.
that it is false dichotomy because he was like, there's no third option.
Right.
Like either we do this or we don't.
Like there's no gray area.
And I just look
Same
at her and
situation
I'm
that you
just
had.
like, what? Like I'm just like when I here's the thing that frustrates me is that no matter how many times it's kind of like explaining faith to someone who doesn't have like who doesn't believe or who's an atheist or whatever. um I can explain it to you but you won't understand it until you want to experience it. You know what I mean? um Constantly having to explain to men the importance of me feeling safe.
The most basic thing is that people want to feel safe. And if someone
Right.
is telling you, okay, I don't feel safe with you, and you tell them that they are crazy because they don't feel safe with you, they probably have reason to not feel safe with you.
Right.
If that's making you feel some type of way because someone is saying, hey, I don't feel safe, if that's making you angry that they don't feel safe, you need to dial it back. And
There's some stuff going on in
like think
here
about,
and you got to work
why
it
is
out.
this upsetting me? Why does it upset me that this person doesn't feel safe with me, instead of thinking, oh, okay, how can I make this person feel comfortable? How can I accommodate them so that we can
Right.
build trust or something? It's
And
so bizarre. It makes no sense whatsoever. It
I
doesn't. I
just
apologize. I don't
I just
know.
thought about the ice cream story. I just feel like
When you were almost human trafficked,
I thought I was being taken out by the Russians. I no lie, I was ready to fight. But I feel like
you sent me
it's
the location.
I did. I sent you. I was like, listen, you better call me in 20 minutes. Like, if I do not text you back, you need to call me.
there were no
Um,
kind of there was no kind of fluff or anything to the message. It was just check your Facebook Messenger. I'm like, okay. She knows I don't use Facebook, so clearly I need to check something now. I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good like code word type thing. Like, okay, check Facebook Messenger. Emergency, red alert, red alert.
right. Yeah. You knew it. You knew it though.
Yeah.
But I feel like I shouldn't have to continuously explain the
No.
necessity for me to feel safe
Mm-mm.
in whatever, whether we're friends, whether we're romantically involved, whether we're coworkers. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially as a black woman, I want to feel safe in the spaces that I occupy.
Yeah.
And I should not have to put my feelings to the side in order to protect someone else or make sure their feelings are coddled
Mm-hmm.
so that I can eventually try to make it to some semblance of safety.
Right.
Like it reminds me of how um and no, I don't know the whole story, but immediately I thought of Meg the Stallion when they were pulled over and she was
Right.
shot in her foot, and she's not trying to like cause an even bigger scene
Mm-hmm.
to get anyone else in trouble, even though this woman is hurt.
Like,
This woman is hurt,
yeah.
and they're making her do the cha cha slide up and down the street,
With blood
everywhere,
on the
bleeding
pavement and stuff.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's still like, listen, hey, calm down. Okay, let me left. Okay, now right. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
back. Okay, forward. And I I don't have that in me. I don't have that in me anymore to try
No.
to convince or explain to another individual that I don't feel safe here.
Hmm.
I'm leaving.
It's a
Or this situation is not you or something about the situation is making me feel uncomfortable or
right,
unsafe and I need to leave.
and it for me, it's the thing that gets me. It's yeah, they may be uncomfortable with you saying that you feel unsafe, but which is more important, you feeling safe or them feeling comfortable in that moment?
Right.
Like they're not concerned that you're gonna pull a knife out of your back pocket or something and attack them or human traffic them or something, right? Like
Right.
they don't have that concern. It's just, oh, why didn't she want to hang out with me alone? Even though it's the third date, and according to Cora, it's time, right?
It's time. You should be at my house. What are you talking about? I
That seems
read
like
the things
something
on
that
the
would happen.
internet. What
Doesn't
are
it
you
seem like
talking
something like
about?
from Men in Black or something where like the handbook says that humans go home together on the third date? Like
Yo, I would laugh in that guy's face.
that's a
I
complete
would legit. I'm glad nobody's ever said that to me or try to pull articles because I will laugh. I'd be like, hey, you know what? Yes, let's meet up, just so I can laugh in his face.
right. Like at its
Like,
surface, yeah, it's funny, but it's a complete lack of respect for the boundary that you've clearly put forth. It's saying, hey,
yes,
yeah, no, I don't go home on the third date. The fact that you even Google it is a clear sign of disrespect and crossing a boundary. It should just be, I don't go, I'm not alone with people on the third date. Oh, okay. Where can we meet up? Let's go bowl. Let's go sit in the park and talk. We can sit in the corner of the park alone and talk.
right,
But why
or
are you
maybe
trying
not
to get
alone. You
me
know, let's be out in the open.
right? Just like on a bench somewhere. I mean,
Right.
just like on a bench alone, not like in like yeah, you know.
Hey, okay.
But just to completely disrespect the boundary by even researching, like, oh, okay, why is this woman crazy? Like that
Right.
doesn't make any
Like
sense.
you're being irrational because the internet says that by about the third date you should be wanting to come to my house and it's like but you didn't check in with that woman to see
Right.
where her comfort level is because
Mm-hmm.
it may not be a number, it may be more of a feeling, an
Yeah.
expectation, a foundation, because she may not want to come home with you for the first like 3 months,
Yeah.
like, and you got to be okay with that. But the
First
fact
3 years, that
like
might be that's her boundary. You can't cross
right,
people's boundaries, and I think that is what the whole scarcity for me again, scarcity abundance goes to. It's like, okay, what is your boundary? What is my financial boundary? What is your
hmm,
boundary at your job or something? How are you setting those boundaries to make sure that you're not just acting out of, oh, this boundary is going to be huge and just completely wide so that I can get as much as possible, versus you setting the boundary and then everyone crossing it and you not recognizing when to cut it off, right?
right. And speaking of the job aspect, I just saw a TikTok previously about how millennials and Gen Z have more established boundaries at work,
Mm-hmm.
and people are wondering how can millennials and Gen Zers just quit off the cuff, just like
Yeah.
how why are you guys not trying to put in your 30 years? Like why are you guys job hopping from one place to another? And I do feel some of that is someone said it's because there's less children being born so they have less responsibilities or whatever blah blah.
Right.
But I think that it's a little bit deeper than that because there's a look, I don't have to be uncomfortable where I don't want to be uncomfortable, like going through growing pains and dealing with uncomfortable conversations and
Being
dealing with certain
disrespected.
situations,
Yeah.
that's kind of expected,
Right.
whether I'm in school, work, home, whatever, there's going to be some uncomfortableness. But if I'm going to work and I'm berated by my manager
Yeah.
or ostracized by my clients or I leave work every day feeling burned out and tired and stressed, why would I stay? And the crazy thing is, it may not even be to that extreme. I just don't like getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to
Ooh.
find a job that's going to allow me to get to work at 11
Mm-hmm.
because I like to sleep in past 10. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I want a job that's going to be able to do this. So yes, I will leave this job it's if it doesn't fit within my
Yeah.
lifestyle.
If it doesn't align with my energy, like Lauren Hill would say.
Yeah.
I think part of it is also it goes to us seeing our parents like put in well, not my parent, not our parents specifically, but like seeing the generation before us put in their 30 years, put in however long they stay there, and then just be tossed to the wayside.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what's the point in putting in the 30 years if at any minute the job can just decide, oh, we're not making enough money. Sorry, we don't have anything to give you. That's it. You're just out.
Right.
So why not go to the next job that's going to pay you a little bit better and put you in a better situation so that you can be comfortable, work
Mm-hmm.
with people hopefully that you like, hope doing something that you like hopefully, and not feeling like you're beholden to this job that really just sees you as an asset that can be dispensed of very easily, right?
Well, because you start off as an asset, and then you turn into a liability, then they
Yeah,
chuck you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it was so hurtful. I was talking to one of my elders. It was so hurtful, and it when you said that, it just hit me just now, like how sad that was. 30 some odd years, retired, all they got was cake. Not the famed gold watch,
right.
not a pen, not a fountain pen, not a plaque,
A
not even
cake,
the what do you call those, not
the little
the
pin or something.
pins.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the 30 years of service pin. Cake.
a cake that
And
everyone's
it
gonna
was a,
eat
yes,
and poop out, right?
that and I was like, wow. And it was just like the look of defeat. It wasn't even defeat. It was it's
Just being
hard to
deflated,
describe. Yes, that's what it
disappointment,
was.
deflation, just
Because it was
wow.
just like, I did all this work.
For a
Yes, I was
cake.
paid. I got this. I got that. But just at the end of all the work that I've done,
Hmm.
cake.
To recognize the milestone with a cake.
Yes, and I'm just like,
Even a certificate would be something that would, well, no, not really a certificate.
like a
Yeah.
plaque, something, because like you said, there are some years where they go all out, and people who hit the 20-year mark get a watch or get a pen or
Hmm.
get whatever, and for their retirement, cake. And I'm just
Mm.
like, I could never.
No.
I 30 years,
Mm-mm.
I could never. I couldn't. And even where I am now, like once I hit 5 years when I was at Capital One, I hit 5 years. I was like,
What's next?
I'm out here. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I the opportunities were scarce, um and they wanted to use my knowledge and my work ethic,
Hmm.
but they didn't want to pay me for it.
Mm.
And I just straight up quit and was like, hey, I'm out. And they're like, oh, you got another job somewhere else? Nope.
Oh.
I'm out. I
Hey,
am I am out of here.
this isn't working for me. So
Yeah, like
I'm out of
I'm
here.
done. And when I went to this, when I got to the place that I'm at now, um, they they were like, yeah, we'll take you on. It was almost a $10,000 raise,
Hmm.
because after I put in my 2 weeks, that's when they put my name in a pool to get promoted.
A pool to get promoted.
Yes, and
Just a
then
chance of being promoted.
the a few days before my last day, they told me that I was promoted, and I was like,
What a coincidence.
I'm out. I'm so out of here.
Like that's
And
great, but no. Sorry, it
yeah,
doesn't
right.
work.
Like I'm done. You don't get to play these games with me. And so the place that I went to now, this is where I want to encourage people, if you are, especially in the job, in the career world, um had a conversation with a manager who she thought that I would be a great candidate for the position,
Hmm.
but she almost didn't hire me because she didn't think that she was capable of being a leader to me,
Oh.
because she felt that I knew more than what she did, and she felt she had nothing to offer me.
Hmm.
And this whole time I have been thinking that I'm underqualified and
Hmm.
that I don't have enough experience and that Oh, it's because I'm black. Like there's been a whole lot of
Right.
other things, but in all honesty, there was a little bit of insecurity, intimidation on the other side of the computer.
Yeah.
And so
Okay,
it's
you
like
said the
you
computer. This is
because
where we are.
that's where we are. Like that's literally where we are. And it's like it was relieving to hear that, but then at the same time it makes me think about the hundreds of other applications that I put in. Okay, I didn't do that many applications. I did maybe in the tens, like somewhere in the 50s. Okay, 30s.
the
But
the
I did a bunch of
dozens.
applications.
The baker's
So,
dozen. The baker's dozen of applications that I put in. That's fine.
it probably was closer to 13, not even gonna lie.
That's still a lot of applications
It
though,
it's a lot of
with the work that
applications,
goes
but
into it.
that's before that's when I found my focus of where I wanted to go. That's when
Yeah,
I got the number
it
down
was
low.
more
But
targeted
when I
than
was just
just
like
flooding of it.
spread the net and anything that I catch, whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's so wild when I hear that just like I didn't know if I could coach you. I didn't know if I could, not that you're not coachable, but you just have a presence about you that I felt I didn't have anything to offer. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, ma'am, I just wanted a job. Like,
I just want to pay rent. I just want to be able to
I
buy
just
a
want to
few
be able to afford
things.
my life. That's all. I don't want to have to go back home. Like I want to be able to live my life. Can I just live my life, please? But it had nothing to do with my qualifications. It
Right.
was simply personality to personality. Like you never know what the other person has like going on. So that's what helped me in the job insecurity wise, because I wasn't really insecure. I knew that I would make money regardless of however I
Right.
had to.
No, your thing has always been imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Like you always go back to, okay, can I do this or am I doing this right? Am I good enough to do this? Why are they hiring me?
right.
I saw some TikTok where somebody was talking about if you ever have imposter syndrome, just remember this. It was targeted to black people, of course. So it was like, remember, you are not a white man. You were hired for your qualifications. You are a black woman. You had to,
Yo,
did you see that one?
no.
And when I saw it, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. That actually hit home for me because in my job, I'm literally at my level. I think I'm the only, well, not I think I'm the only black person. I'm the only black person in my writing center that is like
Right.
classified employee.
Hmm.
And it's an issue that I raise consistently. Even in an interview that I just had on Thursday, I raised a question of them like, okay, what are you guys doing to bring in either more black tutors or what are you guys doing to bring in more black faculty? How are you guys connecting to other cultural centers? Um, because for me, I always think about, okay, is there representation here? And then
Hmm.
that makes me think of like, I hate to go back to it, but just like that token aspect of, oh, okay, they hired me to meet a
Right.
black
Like,
female.
am I an affirmative hire? Like,
Right.
what's going on? But
But
that
I'm,
is, I'm so glad that you said that because there has been talk. Like, we've had conversation where it's like, yeah, most white men are hired for their potential,
mhm,
and everybody else is essentially hired on their proven ability.
yeah.
And so it's just like, but I never put it together until you just said that, where it's like, no, you're absolutely qualified. You've demonstrated this.
Like,
Like this is what you've done, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I do.
right?
You're absolutely right. This
Like,
is what
wait
I
a minute.
do. But also, where are the folders? I don't really pay attention to these meetings. Like, what's going on? Somebody give me the
But
cliff notes.
really,
That's
is
why I
is
take
it
notes all the
important?
time.
Is it important that you don't remember what happened in the meeting, or is it important that we ask the question of why this was a meeting in the first place instead of it just being an email?
I
That's
ask
the
that
real
all the
question.
time. I
How did
ask
this
that all the time.
one question turn into another hour long Google Meet meeting?
But I'm also, if we have to correspond more than thrice,
Hmm.
we're meeting. because just have I don't like texting at work. So if you by the third time you send me an IM for clarification, we need to meet
Yeah, you
because
just do
the
everything
question
remotely.
that you're asking is not being answered, and I feel like you're not asking it appropriately.
What is the fourth equivalent of thrice? Is it fourth or twice?
I I don't know,
I'll look. I have it open. I'm gonna look into it later on. Sorry,
but
quick deviation. But
I absolutely the reason like I like collaborative meetings, but if the meetings don't really involve me, but they need me there because they may need my input, I end up taking a bunch of notes just so I can say, well, on October 9th, actually, we talked about
Sylvia
this.
said,
Yeah, we talked, and they know me as the person who takes notes, like physical notes,
yeah,
and it's just to keep my attention. But I'm just like,
yeah. So you don't fall asleep. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
I know. I know.
you know me,
I
because
know.
otherwise, if I don't take notes, who is what?
Look, I have notebooks scattered around my desk. Little small notebooks. These ones.
I passed. There's two new vendors who make notebooks at the market now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And their covers are really, really nice. One of them is leather bound, and the other one is a mixture. And I was like,
Hopefully they're
ooh.
still there when I come to visit.
Yeah, I almost bought two, and then I was looking at the empty notebooks that I have sitting on my bookshelf, and so I can't purchase any until I write in those.
This sits on my desk. I literally have never written in it. It just sits on my desk. And I look at it.
I think that same one is back.
Was it No Boundaries? Because it was called
Oh, I
No
don't know the
Boundaries
name.
Handmade Journals.
He's
I
like a
think about
medium tall person.
bald, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that might have been him. Glasses.
I don't
I
know if
think
he wore glasses,
I think he had
but
glasses when I.
but I believe that that is the same one. He's just on the opposite side now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I just thought about that when you said notebooks, and I'm just like, oh, there's new notebook people.
Ugh, God. Soon, soon. Trying to figure it out. Once my social calendar calms down, not getting into that today. Um,
Yes, but
but
no,
yeah.
I really think that once it is a leap. It's a complete reprogramming of your brain. So it's not like well, I'm going to drink lactate today versus a glass of milk or whatever, right?
Mhm.
It's not that kind of decision. It is making the small choices every day to go against what you're programmed to live in when you have a scarcity mindset,
Yeah.
you know?
It's kind of, we're trained that way in just American society where it's like, take as much as you can and hold
Right.
on to it. Like, once you get something, don't let go of it.
Right.
Um, I don't know if it's like a depression era thing or something. For black people, it probably goes back a lot farther where we
Mhm.
know, like, okay, we have to take as much as we can. We have to get opportunities that we can and hold on to them
Mhm.
because they're few and far between. But I think it kind of goes, there's a degree of trust in yourself too, which is challenging in itself. Like
Mhm.
trusting that you can see yourself through certain processes, like a breakup or like the a change in a friendship, or
Yes.
not a dissolution of a friendship or a dissolution of a marriage or something, right? That you can
Yeah.
see yourself through those challenging times and knowing that you can come out on the other side of it, because probably before you were married, probably before you were in that relationship, you were pretty bad anyway, right? Like you were the boss on top of everything. So you can get back to being the boss on top of everything that you were.
Yeah.
It's going to look different, amplified, elevated. So just having trust in yourself in that respect, I think, is important. I think.
That's very true. I think that is probably what most of this comes down to is being able, because like you said, me knowing that I'm always going to make money, you knowing that you're always going to have job security and things like that,
Hmm.
like that's a trust that we have within ourselves. It is something that has been not just even before it was proven, because I knew in high school,
Yeah.
before I even got a job, I would always have money.
Right.
Like that's
Like I'm not
I
gonna be
would
hurting.
always.
Yeah, like you knew that. Okay, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
be hurting for money at any point.
right. And it's like um and I feel like just knowing that and trusting in myself that like I'll always have it. Like I'm not, I mean, not saying there are days that I have gone without. I have
Right.
gone without.
Yeah.
But I know that life is going to unfold in such a way where I'm going to have it. So
Hmm.
look, take it as it comes, let it go as you need to. That scarcity mindset is going to only get you so far. You don't want to be the hoarder that is wondering what's in your water. You want to make sure that you're able to live a life that you can freely flow in. And it's hard to do that when you're living for the weekend or for the
Hmm.
next relationship, because somebody said it best of just like when you're going through a breakup, a divorce, quitting a job, getting laid off, or whatever, you think nobody else can understand you. You're the
Right.
first and only person who's gone through this thing. This is the worst thing that ever happened to you, and all. No, like get over yourself. It is bad. It is bad. Let's understand that it is bad, but there is more. There is better,
Hmm.
and you're gonna be fine. Even if you allow yourself to be, eventually you will be fine.
Things work out.
Yes.
Life is temporary and situations are temporary. So things are uncomfortable in moments, but
Mm-hmm.
go with it. Go with the waves and stuff of it. See yourself through it, and
Absolutely.
usually things work out. Usually things
Yes.
work out.
They
99.
may not now. They may not work out the way you want them to,
Yeah.
but they will play out.
Yeah. That's actually been one of the bigger lessons that I've learned is that just the plans, and I think we talked about this before. You told me about your 5-year plan from that you wrote 7 years ago. Yeah. Um,
I
but
don't
the
know who
plans
she was when she wrote that
it was
plan.
ambitious,
It was
little
it was
delusional.
it was very
There's a
delusional. It
thin
was
line between ambition and delusion, and you were probably dipping a toe over on the delusion side. But
oh,
I
I was
think just
ooh.
accepting that the situation just I can't even remember what I was going to say because it just threw me off. The plans that you have for yourself. Oh yeah, yeah. Set plans for yourself, set goals. That's good, but don't become beholden to them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always tell my students. This goes back to the teaching thing. The thesis statements or be engaged to your thesis statement. Don't marry it because the thesis statement is always going to
Right.
change. Your goals, be engaged to them. A long-term relationship, sign a lease together. Don't sign no mortgage papers or anything. Don't marry those goals because things change. So the middle
Yes.
part of that paper, the body paragraphs of your life, they're going to change. So don't write your thesis statement before you know what the entire body section looks like because
Yeah.
then everything you're going to be disappointed. I'm sorry. There's no way to sugarcoat it. You'll just disappoint yourself. So
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And as I'm like writing the speech, I am just like my thesis has changed at least 3 times.
hmm, that's the easy part to fix too.
Yeah.
Like your goals, going back to the goals thing, the thesis statement of a paper is the easy part to change instead of trying to change all those other body
All
paragraphs.
the oh my
Just
gosh. And you
like,
got to get the resources, examples and all
yeah,
that to support. Oh, no. Yeah,
applying it
just
back to
yeah.
that the goals part, you can always adjust your goals to whatever your situation is in that middle section of your life. You can always adjust
Exactly.
what you want your main point or what you want your end goal to be based on what your situation is in your body paragraphs. That's the
Yes.
easy part. Adjusting the goals is the easy part. It's hard for you to change the situations at hand. It was hard for me
Right.
in 2013 to make a job materialize. At one point, it was like, okay, I'll go to therapy. That's something I have control over. Went to
Mhm.
therapy, and then I was able to readjust my expectations based on my situation at the time.
Yeah.
So, adjust your goals.
Just fix your narrative, the narrative that you're telling yourself that it has to work out in this
Yeah.
way. Once you fix that, you're golden.
Again, easier said than done. We recognize that. We recognize that.
Yes, I have to keep reminding myself to say that. Yes,
Yeah.
I know
These
that
are
it is work,
reminders and
but
mantras for
because we've done
ourselves.
it. We just
Exactly.
like we're barely coming on the other side of this.
We're
Like we're
just peeking
just
out
barely.
of the tunnel. So we're trying to give you
Yes.
some. This is what we saw in there. So
Right. So
this is
before you head in there, like this is what is expected, but it is going to be work, and it may not take just one time or a conversation or a this or that. It's gonna take some work.
yeah,
So
and
we
that's
we
fine.
understand. Be patient with yourself. Have compassion for yourself.
Hmm.
Like just have compassion for yourself, and know that you don't have to live scarce. Would
Yeah,
you want, your family to live scarce, your children to live scarce, or whomever? Like, think about the person you love the most. Would you want them to live like that, or you just, oh, this just works for me? No,
no.
you deserve better than this.
Hmm.
Yeah. Jason, do you have anything to plug?
Oh, I'm dropping my EP soon. No, no, I don't.
You
Twitter.
having a 7 song EP?
Yes, yes. Got Summer Walker on it. I've never listened to Summer Walker before. Um,
Hold on.
have you?
I mean, go ahead.
Have you listened to her before? Anyway, no, just same old stuff. Twitter, Instagram, JJ underscore Newberry. Check me out. She's checking out her library right now. She's checking her library. We got some reactions. Are you checking? Do you have Summer Walker on there? Okay, good. Um,
I want to press play, but I'm going to wait till we end because I think that she's one of the whisper voice people, but I'm not
she is.
sure. Okay, then that's why I've never heard her.
She is. Yeah, because you can't hear her because she's whispering. Um, I'm really joking. I have nothing against Summer Walker.
I would have to play one of her songs
You should
to
take
know
her
who she is.
Instagram.
But, huh?
I still don't think that you would know who she is based on a song.
No, I just saw a tattoo on the neck of a woman, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know she's popular. I know she's very popular. She hasn't come across any of the stations that I create on my
Yeah,
Apple Music.
no, I just got to listen to DJ Cool and Biz Markie with Dougie Fresh.
Apparently,
So no.
apparently, I'm about to listen to Johnny Gill, my, because we're gonna roll with it. But yeah, Twitter, JJ underscore Newberry, Instagram, JJ underscore Newberry. We just took a
Thank you
left
very
turn
much.
there. I'm so
Make sure
sorry.
y'all go follow Jason. Um, Make sure that you show him some love. No hate toward Summer Walker. I just
Yeah,
don't, I just don't,
I just don't know you.
I don't know you. But to
She,
those, I'm sure there's going to be people who's going to send me, oh, listen to this song, listen to this song.
I'll try it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with trying it because I got time. But thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space podcast. I've been your host, Leah. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on the show. I really appreciate you. Let us know what I want to know where you are in your scarcity abundance. In your scarcity abundance journey, have you ever had to deal with that? Or if you have never had to deal with that, what has kept you out of that mindset? Is it something that's taught? Are you just like, "Ugh, I don't need to be there"? Ugh, peasants. And those who are dealing with the scarcity mindset, you're worried that you'll never find love again. You're worried that you'll never find friends or a job or whatever. What narrative are you telling yourself? And you don't have to put that in the comment. You can just message that to us. It's okay. But I just want to know. But thank you all so much. Please make sure that you follow us at Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we're on YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Take a Space Pod or Champions of Discourse. We're also on TikTok under Champions of Discourse, starting to post on there, whatever that's doing. Yes, thank you so much. We'll see you all next time.